From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 18th, 2024. An Israeli soldier who was seriously injured in a drone attack from terror group Hezbollah in Lebanon last month died of his injuries today. The IDF said 25-year-old Sergeant First Class in Reserve Ephraim Ben Amram was among 19 troops who were hurt in the attack against an IDF base in the Golan area on June the 30th. The IDF continues to defend itself against Hezbollah and today said it eliminated a Hezbollah terrorist in southern Lebanon that served as an officer in the engineering unit of the terrorist organization, and as part of his role took part in the planning and execution of a variety of terrorist operations against the State of Israel. Earlier today, the IDF said in a drone strike it eliminated a terrorist associated with terror group Hamas in Lebanon, saying he was entrusted with the promotion and execution of terrorist plans and rocket launches from Lebanon into Israel, and that he also worked alongside a Lebanese terror group. Rockets were also fired at northern Israel from Lebanon today. No damage or injury reported. Israeli troops continue to battle terror group Hamas in Gaza, and yesterday the IDF gave an update on the operation there, saying that for the past 264 days, IDF ground, air, and naval forces have been operating in Gaza in order to achieve the goal of eliminating the threat of Hamas, and said that half of the leadership of Hamas's military wing has been eliminated, including, the IDF said, 6 brigade commanders, over 20 battalion commanders, and approximately 150 company commanders, and that it had struck over 60,000 terrorist targets in Gaza, dismantled dozens of production sites and workshops, as well as offensive and strategic underground tunnel routes. The IDF saying it will continue operating in order to dismantle Hamas in accordance with international law. Well, the parents of American-Israeli hostage Omer Nutra addressed the 2024 Republican National Convention in Milwaukee last night, calling attention to the plight of their son and the other hostages being held in Gaza now for 286 days. Ronen Nutra telling the crowd during the brutal October 7th attack on Israel, over 1,200 people were slaughtered. Of them, 45 were American citizens. He said this was not merely an attack on Israel.
This was and remains an attack on Americans. Omer is one of 8 American hostages and one of 120 hostages still left in Gaza. Citizens of 24 countries and 5 different religions, still held by Hamas, denied basic human needs, their lives threatened every day.
The Nutras calling for the public support to bring all of the hostages home now. The Israeli-American Council also displayed images of the American-Israeli citizens held hostage in Gaza on screens outside the RNC yesterday. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the 1994 terror bombing of the AMIA, the Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Jewish leaders and organizations from around the world gathered at the official state ceremony to pay tribute to the 85 people murdered and hundreds injured on that day. The attack, Argentina concluded, carried out by Iran and its proxy terror group Hezbollah. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken released a statement today vowing to hold the perpetrators accountable. He noted that until the Hamas attacks on Israel on October the 7th last year, the AMIA bombing had been the largest mass murder of Jews since the Holocaust. Blinken pointed to an alarming surge in global anti-Semitism since October the 7th in many countries, including the United States, and said that yesterday the U.S. joined more than 30 countries in launching the global guidelines for countering anti-Semitism, which he said identify practical actions that governments, international bodies, civil society organizations, and people of conscience everywhere can take against anti-Semitism wherever and whenever it occurs. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, July the 18th. At 7 o'clock, Zionist founder and executive director Amanda Berman and Jewish Council for Public Affairs CEO Amy Spitalnick evaluate social justice and interfaith partnerships in the wake of October the 7th, with remarks from Rabbi David Saperstein from the ReCharging Reform Judaism Conference. At 8:20, we bring you an encore presentation of the wisdom of Dr. Ruth, as we pay tribute to the late icon here on JBS. At 9, Cantor Sol Zim is on L'chaim. At 10, I sit down with the chairman of Yad Vashem, Dani Dayan, who discusses the new complex being built there, the aftermath of October the 7th, and more. And coming up next, FIDF CEO Steve Weil speaks with Malcolm Hoenlein, vice chairman of the Conference of Presidents, who offers his insights about the current situations in both Israel and the diaspora. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 18th, 2024. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.